return on your investment when it comes to live events. Have you ever been to a show, a conference, and you're thinking, why did I go to that? What did I even learn? How am I using this information? Well, today on the show, I'm going to talk about my experience at New Media Expo. And I'm also going to give you some ideas on how you can get a return on your investment when it comes to going to live events, live conferences, and events. So if you want to hear more about how to get an ROI on your conference ticket, stay tuned. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the show. I'm excited that you're here, that you decided to download this, stream this, listen to this no matter where you are. Thank you so much. I also want to give a little bit of a plug to our last show. We received so much feedback about the last show, how to deal with a horrible boss with our guest Jennifer Desura. It was hilarious. It was a fun show. If you haven't listened to it yet, please make sure you download it and listen to that show. Share it with someone that has a horrible boss, or if you're a horrible boss, maybe take out some pen and paper, take some tips. But today's show is about my recent trip to New Media Expo, my recent trip to Las Vegas. Most recently, probably about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I went to a new show, a new conference called New Media Expo. Now, the conference is not new, but it was new to me. It was an event that I have not traveled to before, and it was really interesting because it got me in the mind frame of being a first time attendee. It's a totally different feeling than when you go to an event you're used to going to it third, fourth, fifth time. Going to a first time event sometimes kind of feels like starting over. It's exciting, but it's also you also have to navigate that a little bit differently. So I wanted to talk to you guys about that and something that I did different. A little bit of backstory about New Media Expo. New Media Expo is an event for bloggers, content curators, podcasters, web videos. It's basically anybody who works in new media, and it's a really big event. They had probably over 250, 300 speakers over over a course of about 4 days. It was also partnered with the National Association of Broadcasting show, which was a huge trade show that also featured different sessions. It was a partnership in that these shows meet in the same facility at the same time. So they decided to kind of have a ticket where you could go to both. So if you were at the National Association of Broadcasters show, you could kind of mix and mingle and go to sessions with New Media Expo. And if you were at New Media Expo, you could mix and mingle and go to some of the NAB trade shows that they had, which was it was an awesome experience to go to that. I love trade shows. I love, finding out about new products and what companies are doing that I'm already working with. So it was really a interesting show, huge show in Las Vegas, and my first time. So some of the things that I did different, or some of the things that I want to give you ideas to do when you go to something for the first time. So one of the first things that I did was I actually hopped on Twitter and I sent out a tweet to everyone using the show hashtag, which was hashtag NMX. And I just said, hey, look, I'm really excited about NMX and it's my first time. Where are all my first timers at? This idea is really good to use if you have not been to a show before, or if you've been to a show before and you want to meet new people, because what happened in that is that people were responding to that tweet that were newbies like me, and they were like, hey, I'm a first timer, I'm excited too, let's meet up. Oh, I'm excited for the show, I'm going to this session or I'm going to that session. It built instant community to me for an event that I haven't even, flown out of Texas yet for. So already I started to feel like I was, kind of in the in crowd because I had a group of people, networking with me on Twitter about the event that were also first timers. And also people who had been to the event a lot of times they also reached out to me too and tweeted me and said, "Hey, I'm excited that you're going to be here. Welcome to New Media Expo." Some of the speakers that were speaking there, tweeted back. They were following the hashtag. Tweeted back, "Hey, nice to virtually meet you. I hope that I could meet you at my session." And that's another whole nother podcast we can get into about how to get people to your sessions. But yeah, I would suggest that if you are going to an event for the first time, or if you're going to an event and you really are focused on meeting new people, maybe you've been to the show before and you want to meet new people, make sure to get on social. Use those hashtags. They're there for a reason. Tell people, "Hey, I'm a first timer. I can't wait to meet all the new people." Or, "Hey, I've been to this event 5 or 6 years. If you need some assistance in navigating, or if you want to know some ideas and tips and tricks about how to get through the event, contact me." Twitter is awesome for building instant community. Facebook, that is good if you're in a group. So they did. New Media Expo had a group for attendees, and I met a couple of people in there too. So either way it goes, reach out on social would be my first thing that you absolutely should do if you're going to an event and you want to create a little community and network with people before you even get there. So once you get to the event, it's a little bit different story. We got there; it was a late flight, and the show started early the next morning. Of course, it's Vegas, so had to go, visit the strip, visit a couple casinos, grab something to eat when we got there. So it was a late night, very early morning. But one thing was, I didn't get a chance to get the schedule. Now, normally you would download the schedule or get a copy of the schedule before the event, and this is always good. It allows you to plan where you want to go, plan your event, and kind of give you an idea of what you want to do before you get there so you're not just roaming around and trying to figure things out. Unfortunately, with New Media Expo, the schedule wasn't posted until maybe about a week and a half, 2 weeks before the event, which is normally great. But I was, here in Texas trying to get everything together, get ready for travel, and I didn't get a chance to actually download it. And explore it the way that I wanted to. So when I got to the event and checked in, got my badge, I got a copy of the schedule and I kind of used that to navigate, I used that as a navigation tool to figure out the sessions that I wanted to go to, a little bit about the speakers. Sometimes the program doesn't have a ton of information about the speakers, and you can actually go online and do your research, and I recommend that. That's something that I did when I did get a schedule. I decided to go and pop over my laptop and research some of the speakers that were leading the sessions that I wanted to go to, because I wanted to make sure that these were people that I actually wanted to hear speak. And it's really important that you do this, and I'll tell you why. Conferencing is expensive. If your company pays for it, it's still the same price as if you pay for it. You don't want to waste your company's money, or if you're a solopreneur, entrepreneur, you don't want to waste your own money. So you've got to make sure you're getting a return on your investment. Researching the speakers, researching the topics ahead of time will give you an advantage on that, because now you're kind of getting into something that you know a little bit about. Now, you are going to go into sessions that you have researched, and sometimes they're not all that you thought they were going to be, or maybe the scheduled programming has changed. And that's fine. I mean, you can handle that as you see fit. Maybe, sneak out, go to another session, or, give the feedback to the conference organizer, and maybe they can do a better job in the future. But I would advise you to plan, because that's how you're going to get the money back. That's how you're going to get the full value of the purchase of your ticket. So that would be a definite do. Research, research, and research. Another thing you want to do is you want to network. So we talked about, building that community online. That's great. But when you get to the event, you want to make sure you make those connections in real life. So if you're attending the conference with your peers, that's great. So if you're traveling with maybe some people from your office or your business partner, that is awesome. But you want to make sure you make connections with people that you don't know, because you can network and you could, hang out with your coworkers any day. This is a new experience, and you want to make sure that you're meeting people and connecting. And so what I did was all the people that I conversated with online, I tried in some way to make that connection. Hey, I'm here. Let's meet up. There was actually someone who listens to the Savvy Young Professional podcast that was there, and I made a point to make sure that we met up because I obviously wanted to meet her and meet her in person. She listens to the show, she finds value in it, and it was an awesome time for me to connect with someone that is a fan of the Savvy Young Professional podcast. And so I would suggest maybe bridging those, forming those connections and making them into real life friendships. Networking events in the schedule, typically you will find where there are networking events. If you're not the type of person that likes to go out, party, and get all crazy, that's fine. I mean, I would not necessarily say that's my personality type either, even though it was Vegas and it was, a little crazy. But you don't have to go out and drink or do anything that makes you feel uncomfortable in a party situation. Well, you don't have to go out and drink and get crazy to network. You can go to these events, especially in conferences. These built-in networking events, they're made for people to connect and get to know one another. So don't discount an event or a networking opportunity just because it says it's at a nightclub or there will be a DJ or there will be live music or a bar. That doesn't necessarily mean that people are going to be just partying and getting crazy. It just means that, that's the atmosphere that most of the time people choose for after hour networking events, because the conferences are so, it's a lot of work. It's just like work. They're back to back. There's a ton of classes, and yeah, there's a small work break or lunch break, but then you go right back into sessions. So those night events are just an opportunity for you to network in a more relaxed environment. And honestly, I'm going to tell you a little secret. That's the best way to network. I mean, yeah, networking at the conference is awesome. Don't get me wrong. You're going to meet some cool people. But when you meet people in a different environment, a more relaxed environment, that's where some really good connections are made. People are, become friends, and, they're just more relaxed. They want to know more about your business. They're not in a rush to go anywhere. So I advise you to take advantage of any networking opportunity that you can. And if there aren't any networking opportunity, here's a next level kind of tip. You can create your own. Create your own opportunity. So, find a lounge or a bar, maybe a couple of tables at a restaurant. Tweet it out. Hey, I would love to meet up with some people in my case, New Media Expo. Let's meet at, so and so's Waffle House, or the bar down the street, or the bar at the conference hotel, and let's network, let's talk, let's meet up. A few people at the conference did that, and it was a great opportunity for people to get to know each other. I actually attended one of those events that was hosted by someone that was just attending, so it was great, and I met a lot of cool people at that event. So if you can't find a networking event, that's fine, make your own. If there are opportunities for networking that are built into the conference, take advantage at least of one or two of those opportunities. So, we're in the conference, you've set up your community and you've got your schedule going, you're in there, you're learning, you're taking notes, right? What happens next? Conferences are great, and they're opportunity for you to get a ton of information very quickly. They're an opportunity for you to connect with people and learn things that sometimes you can't learn, reading a book or something like that. But it doesn't mean anything at all if you don't follow up. There is the art. This is the gold part. This is the most important part of going to any event, any conference, any meeting, anything that involves you connecting with people and learning. You've got to follow up on the information that you received and with the connections that you made. So for me with New Media Expo, all of the notes that I took, I make sure I go back and I reread. I reread all of my notes from New Media Expo. Matter of fact, one of the conference goers actually put her notes in the Facebook group. So I read her notes too. And I made a plan for some of the things that I've learned. When am I going to implement this? What project am I going to apply this information to? Make specific plans with the information that you learned at the conference so that once again you're going to get a return on your investment. Even if you didn't pay a dime to get there or attend the event, it was still an investment of your time, and you want to make sure that you spent your time wisely. So follow up, and organize your notes, reread them, make a plan of attack. How are you going to apply all this information to your situation? And then also, you want to follow up with the people you've met. So, it's great that you meet new people and you have fun and you're making all these connections. But one thing I encourage you to do is take all the business cards that you've received. And I do recommend business cards. I know it's easy to follow somebody on Twitter and I'll follow you on Facebook, but business cards are something that you can actually keep, hold, touch in your hand. That is a reminder, a visual reminder of the fact that you need to follow up with people. So what I did when I got home, I took all my business cards and I sent out personal emails to everybody that I actually met. Now, if someone just, handed me their business card, then I had to do a little bit more research about them and, figure out if that's someone that I want to make a connection with. But if it was someone that I actually talked to, we exchanged, stories or business information, then I made sure to follow up with a personal email that included something that we talked about or something that they mentioned while they were talking. And honestly, people will appreciate you for it because what happens at these events a lot of the time is that people say they'll follow up, but the ones that really do, they're the ones that find extreme value in attending that event, and it's an awesome return on investment. So the three things that we talked about today are: number one, you want to do your research, check into the event, connect with people online, let them know you're a first time you're going to be there, let them know you're ready to meet new people, grab that schedule, and plan your event. Make sure you're getting the most bang for your buck. Um, the second thing you want to do is you want to get social. So, yes, there's the online social, but then there's the real social. There's the person to person, face to face. Find networking events or create your own networking event so that you can meet new people face to face that can actually grow into new business or even new friendships. There's nothing like having a friend that's in business, a business buddy, as I like to call them. It's awesome because they're people that you can call, email really quickly with a problem, and 9 times out of 10 they have a solution because they've gone through the same things that you have, or they've experienced that in some kind of way and they can provide value. So you want to make sure you're meeting those people in every way that you can at the conference or event. The last thing you want to do is you want to follow up. So, not just follow up with the people you've met, you want to follow up with action items, real things. Take something that you learned from an actual session and apply that to your situation. So, for me, there were a couple of things that I learned about my show. I'm actually practicing that. What I want to do different in my intros, my editing, some of the tools to use to get the show out after production. So, if there's something that you think you want to try, I advise you to try it as soon as you get home, or you probably won't. That's the art of the follow up. Follow up, follow up, follow up, and follow up with the people that you've met because they will help you to grow and learn in your business. And I'll leave you with one final example. Last year, my first time, I went to Podcast Movement, and it was in Dallas, Texas, and I met a group of people after the conference, as a matter of fact. So I saw them all at the conference, maybe like a hi bye kind of thing. But it was on Twitter after we connected, probably the day after. And they wanted to form a little group and just kind of get on the phone and talk about podcasting and where were in, launching or not launching or some of the difficulties. I will tell you right now, I still talk to those people every week. Well, we try to meet every week, and we're exchanging so much value and giving each other ideas on how to take our business and our podcast to the next level. This was just from a follow up. This was from me coming home, going on Twitter, following up with people that I met at the event, following up with the hashtag after the event. Vernon Ross, Social Strategy Podcast, that I mentioned earlier. that was someone that I met at an event that I was at for the first time, and I just followed up. Actually, he followed up with the connection. So you've got to, follow up. That would be my main thing. If you don't take anything else from this podcast, make sure that you're getting a return on your investment, okay? Thank you for listening to the Savvy and Professional podcast. I hope that you found something in this episode valuable, something that you can share with a friend, something that you can use at your next live event. I mean, wow, so much money. I mean, average conference tickets, what, somewhere between $350 and $500. That's just the average. There's more out there. There's more money to go to live events, not to mention your travel. So I just wanted to make sure that we gave you some ideas about how to take that experience to the next level. If you like this show, make sure you subscribe to it, because guess what? When you do, and a new show comes out, you don't even have to worry. It's going to show up right there. It'll be right there. You'll see a notification that says that the new show is out. So if you're on iTunes, hit the subscribe button. It's purple, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty sure it's purple. And if you are on Stitcher, please subscribe to the podcast. Really, really nice player on that platform. And if you don't have any of that just yet, maybe you're looking, you're on your computer, sign up on my mailing list. That way, when a new show comes out, you will get it in your inbox. So thank you for listening to the show, and I will catch you later. Keep it savvy, YPs.